Hi everyone, just thought I'd do a quick follow-up video from yesterday because there was quite a few bits that I missed out, so I'm just going to get into it and go over those. The handguards, I managed to, basically I'll rub these down with some wet and dry. Started off with I think 2,000 grit, something like that, and worked down to about 3,000, so they've come up quite nice. What else was it? The swing arm, yeah. This swing arm, I basically rubbed that down with a 400 grit first, and then worked my way down to a 2,500, and then just a bit of auto sole, followed by a Scotch-Brite pad. Once it's all like nice and clean and shiny, you just apply firm pressure and just sweep it in one constant direction to give that slightly brushed look. So that was how I did that. The suspension linkage down there, if you look in my, I think it was one of my first or second videos, you'll see that that is absolutely caked in rust. I used a strong, like quite robust wire brush that goes on the end of a drill, like an electric drill. The amount of things that I didn't realise were bent on this bike until after I'd sort of painted them or cleaned them up. I mean, the problem is if you're buying one of these bikes in the UK, you're not really going to be spoilt for choice. So just try and not get too caught up in the moment, because it's easily done. And just make sure that you check a lot of things out. I've only just realised today that my pillion left side foot hanger, the bracket for the pillion foot hanger, is bent, and it's basically where the bike's gone down. Instead of the foot peg being out here, it's twisted in right into their foot. It's going to be near the rear wheel. Obviously that's that's no good. So luckily I found one on eBay. I've just ordered it, so that should be sorted out. The handlebars were also bent. They've been straightened, but there's quite a few marks from them being straightened, so I've got to basically fill that and repaint those. This front bracket, this whole bracket here was bent, and that was twisted. What was it? It was twisted that way, I think. The way I did that was put a breaker bar that side of the indicator holder there, and then the opposite side of the indicator there, and just twisted it back again, because all the headlights were sat wonky inside the front cowl. I also said yesterday that I used the auto glym bump and trim gel for rubber. I use that for plastics. For rubber hoses, get silicone spray. So yeah, I've made a mistake there. If you're going to do a restoration, just soak everything in WD-40 for a good day or two before you go to undo anything. Obvious reasons, it just helps free it up. It stops bolts from snapping inside. So my list is down here. Oh, the wiring loom, before you go to remove it, if you're doing it in winter time when it's quite cold, I mean, it's best to anyway, but just warm it up a little bit, just gently with a hairdryer or something, just so it's nice and soft and malleable, and it just helps to reduce the risk of breaking any cables as you're moving it. Wheel rims, yeah, I said yesterday about the wheel rims being rotten. Well, you've got to be so aware of this if you're buying pre-owned wheels or a pre-owned bike that's quite old. If you look at this rim from the outside, that rim looks absolutely fine. If you were buying this, or if this was on a bike, you would only think, I've got to clean up the spokes or possibly replace the spokes. But where this bike was sat for 9 years in one hit, you will soon see which part was the bottom of the wheel. That is how rotten that is. So just be so aware of that. That's why I've got to get new rims. There's no way I would even risk trying to sort those out. So that is something to be aware of, because just the rims have cost me £490. So yeah, in total the wheels are going to be probably just under £1,000 to be built. I also forgot about this seat. That is just stunning. It's a new seat cover. It's on eBay. It's from a company in Italy. They're the only people I could find that make a replica. I think it was about £115 for that cover. but it is, I mean, it doesn't really do it any justice in the on the video, but it is so nice. That's been kept in a bag on a shelf. It's only, I think it's the only time it's come out of the bag. What else was it? Oh yeah, obviously if you're going to do a rebuild, get yourself the manual, the what's it called, workshop manual and the service manual. They're normally together in one thing. Get yourself a folder and just keep it in the garage. And obviously, as we all know from school, one of the most important things is you've got to get a cool sticker and put it on the folder. It's just the law. We all know that. So don't forget you got to order one of them. What else is it? Oh, when you're taking the bike apart, it's best to try and box things up in order. Doesn't matter what order that is, as long as it works for you. It could be all the coolant, you know, all the cooling system in one box, or all the electrical in one box, or you can literally do it as like the back of the bike, you know, and middle of the bike and front of the bike. It doesn't really matter, but just try and box things up in order, because it makes it so much easier when you're trying to put things back together. Oh, the engine. Yeah, I haven't done any work on this engine whatsoever because it ran so well. I'm just not going to touch it. There's no point. All I have done is paint it. I didn't take it apart. I used what's it, the very high temperature paint for the silver. This is actually the paint that I used on the exhaust guards. It's not high temperature paint, so I mean, these don't get massively hot, but I'll just see how it goes. If it doesn't work, I'll see if I can find somebody who makes high temperature paint into a colour code. If not, I'll just whip the casings off and get them done professionally if need be. But yeah, a bit of a risk on that, but is what it is. Got to give it a go. But I just made sure that I took my time to mask it up right, so I didn't get any paint on the rubber gaskets. And also the paint lines along there are just, you know, they're quite good. They're quite smooth. And also a couple of people have said about the cost. A guesstimate. I mean, I thought I would spend about £2,000 doing this bike up. No chance. I think I've done around 1,500 on eBay just on parts. Then there's just silly things like freezer bags, paint, paint thinners, sandpaper. It just goes on. It goes on and on and on. I've probably, at a rough guesstimate, I've probably spent around 2,800, maybe 3,000 so far, and I've still got both brake discs to buy, both brake pads, front and rear sprocket, chain, wheels to be built, all the bodywork to be sprayed, the decals for the bodywork, all four indicators, the radiator guards and the headlight guard. So I've still got, and an arrow exhaust as well. So I've still got a good £1,800 left to go. So just be aware, it can get quite out of control, but if you're not in a rush to do it, if it takes 2, 3 years, 4 years, so be it. It's well worth it in the end. Also the luggage rack, I just heated this up with a heat gun. It did actually come up really nice, but over the last few weeks I've got a few little light spots that have come back, so I'm going to give it another go. And I just got this sticker off of eBay. The original sticker has got a blue background. You will notice that, like on the side panel, there's where it says Adventure Sport. It just looks like a white sticker, like with a writing, but it hasn't. It's actually got a red background on it. Just silly little touches like that you do notice, but I couldn't get the original, so I've just gone for that. Looks all right. It's not too bad. I noticed Adam Ryman and a few other people said that this radiator guard vibrates and then eventually wears a hole in the radiator. Well, what I've done is I've put a couple of soft pads in there. All they are is these 3M double-sided pads, and what I did was just take off this adhesive, that protective side, put some black electrical tape face down on it, so you've got the two adhesive sides together, so it's nice and smooth and it won't stick any grit or dirt to it, and then just cut it to shape. and just put them inside, just on the radiator guard. So now that there's no tapping, it's just nice and soft, so hopefully that will prevent any wear into the radiator. And yeah, I think that is about it. So yeah, it's just a little update, just a few things that I'd forgotten. I hope the videos have been helpful. And like I said before, yeah, if you can do a rebuild, please do. It's, yeah, well worth it. So yeah, thank you very much, and I'll see you soon. Bye.